Aloha, welcome back everyone. We're continuing our progression through the 2020 core set, along with pushing our rank in War of the Spark Season 2. We're trying to go top 1000, sitting at a comfy 921 right now. Probably going to try to push up to top 800 tonight. We'll see how far we get bumped down during dinner. Getting into the preview though, we are looking at red cards, which are our absolute favorite in Magic all time. We have Active Treason for 3. This is just a reprint. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Cavalier of Flame. This is our red mountain Cavalier. Costing 5. He is the elemental type. We're going to see a lot of elementals here in red. You can pay 2, and creatures you control get +1, +0, and gain haste until end of turn. And whenever he enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards, then draw that many of cards. When he dies, deal X damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. And he himself is a 6/5. So we're also going to see the discarding of cards, a pretty common theme in the red decks here, which will also make Flame of Keld, that red Saga card, really good. Moving on, Chandra, Alakite of Flame. This is a 3 cost with 2 mountains. Legendary Planeswalker, a rare type, 4 loyalty when it comes in. For 0, you can put a loyalty counter on each red Planeswalker you control. Also for 0, create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens. They gain haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of your next end step. And -2, you may cast target instant or sorcery spell card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If that card will be put into the graveyard this turn, exile it instead. Woof, woof, woof. So there's some sort of shenanigans here. Because I believe... No, Jumpstart does go in your graveyard, not exile, and then it's exiled after. Chandra, Awakened Inferno for 6, 2 mountains. This spell can't be countered. +2, each opponent gets an emblem with at the beginning of your upkeep. This emblem deals 1 damage to you. That's ridiculous. -3, Chandra Awakened Inferno deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. And -X, Chandra Awakened deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. And finally, Chandra Novice Pyromancer for 4. This little lady is just an uncommon. +1, elementals you control get +2, +0 until end of turn. -1, add 2 mountains. -2, -1, add 2 mountains. -1, add 2 mountains. -2, Chandra Novice Pyromancer deals 2 damage to any target. And then Chandra's Ember Cat for 2. This is an elemental cat. I guess that's pretty clear. 2/2, and you can tap it, add 1 mountain, spend this mana only to cast elemental spell or Chandra Planeswalker spells. Chandra's Outrage for 4, 2 mountains. Chandra's Outrage deals 4 damage to any 2 target creature and 2 damage to that creature's controller. Chandra's Regulator for 2. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability of Chandra Planeswalker, you may pay 1. If you do, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Pay 1, tap it, discard a mountain card for each, or a red card, and draw a card. Kind of cool, but I don't think that's going to work well. I don't think we'll see an all Chandra Planeswalker deck, but it would be great. Chandra's Spitfire for 3. Another elemental, flying this time, 1/3. Whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, Chandra's Spitfire gets +3, +0 until end of turn. So this is heavy. We really like this card. A couple 1-cost instants or sorceries here, and you have a real big creature coming in for some huge damage. Dagger Sail Aeronaut for 4. As long as it's your turn, he has flying. Destructive Digger for 3. This is a 3/2. They're both 3/2s, I suppose. You pay 3, tap it, sacrifice an artifact or land, and draw a card. Dragon's Maze for 7. 2 mountains here. Flying, 5/5, so pretty powerful there. Whenever Dragon Maze deals combat damage to a player, each player discards their hand and then draws 7 cards. So if you had, whenever you draw a card, deal damage to an opponent, like that Miz trigger, that would absolutely be madness. We have another huge dragon in the house, Drakuseth, Maw of Flames for 7, 3 mountains. Flying 7/7, and whenever he attacks, it deals 4 damage to a target and 3 damage to up to 2 other targets. So 4 damage to any target, that's probably going to the face, and 3 damage to up to 2 other targets. So that probably couldn't be the same target, but if he's got any creatures on the field, you are wrecking them. Ember Hauler for 2. You pay 1, sacrifice him, and deal 2 damage to any target. This might be good in a little bit of a red aggro deck. It's a 2/2. You get a couple hits in early and then sacrifice it for 2 more, potentially. Fire Elemental for 5. This is a reprint, 5/4. Flame Sweep for 3. Flame Sweep deals 2 damage to each creature except for creatures you control with flying. Fry for 2. This spell can't be countered. Fry deals 5 combat damage to target creature or planeswalker if it's white or blue. So this is super sideboard material. Glinthorn Buccaneer for 3. He has haste. He's a 2/4, which is really nice. And whenever you discard a card, Glinthorn Buccaneer deals 1 damage to each opponent. You can pay 2, discard a card, draw a card, activate this ability only if Glinthorn Buccaneer is attacking. So very, very cool. Pirate here, so you get some sort of pirate discard situation. Goblin Bird Grabber for 2. You can pay 1 forest. Goblin Bird Grabber gains flying till end of turn. Activate this ability only if you control a creature with flying, and he is a 2/1. Goblin Ringleader for 4. He has haste, and when he enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all Goblin cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So that's pretty cool if you're rocking an all Goblin deck. And we have a 3rd Goblin in a row here for 3. This is a Goblin Rogue with haste. And you can tap him. Another target creature with power 2 or less can't be locked this turn, and he is a 2/2 as well. Infuriate for 1. Target creature gets +3/+2 until end of turn. Keldon Raider for 4. 2 mountains. When he enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Lavikin Brawler for 4. When he attacks, he gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each elemental you control. So that will fit in nicely somewhere in an elemental deck. And finally, our Leyline of Combustion for 4. We know that when it's in your opening hand, it will be in the battlefield free of charge. You'll start the game with it in play. Whenever you and at least one of the permanents you control becomes target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that player. So let's read that again. Whenever you and or at least one permanent you control, so you or a permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability and opponent controls. So whenever you're getting targeted with anything, dealing 2 damage to that player, that's huge, 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 huge. Screw you, control decks. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't block. Marauding Raptor for 2. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Marauding Raptor deals 2 damage to it. If it's a dinosaur and it's dealt damage this way, Marauding Raptor gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and it will automatically be triggering the Enrage effect. Mask of Immolation for 2. This is an artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token, then attach the Mask of Immolation to it. Equipped creature has sacrificed its creature. It deals 1 damage to any target, and the equip cost is 2, so you could pass this around to all your creatures and self-sacrifice. Pack Mastiff for 2. You can pay 2. Each creature you control named Pack Mastiff gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and it is a 2/2, so this is a nice limited card. Rapacious Dragon for 5. Flying, he's a 3/3, and when he enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. Reckless Airstrike for 1. Choose 1. It's a sorcery. It deals 3 damage to target creature with flying or destroying target artifact. Reduce to Ashes for 5. This is a sorcery as well. Reduce to Ashes deals 5 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Repeated Reverberation for 4. 2 mountains. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell, when you next cast an instant spell, cast a sorcery spell, or activate a loyalty ability, copy that spell or ability twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. So even if it was a lightning strike for 2, if you had 2 more lightning strikes to play, it would cost you 4 anyways. So that's very nice value. I like this card right here. For 4, it's a heavy finisher, but it's cool to keep by your bedside. Ripscale, this would be no good to top deck, I'll add. Ripscale Predator for 6, 2 mountains. He is a menace, and he is a 6/5. So a great limited card here. Scampering Scorcher for 4. When he enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 red elementals. Elementals you control gain haste until end of turn, and he's a 1/1. I don't really care for this card. That's pretty expensive. Scorch Spitter for 1. I actually liked this card quite a bit. Whenever he attacks, it deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker it's attacking. So he costs 1, and it's a 1/1, and dealing that extra damage every time. Shock, that's a reprint, dealing 2 damage to any target. Tectonic Rift for 4. Destroy target land. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. Thunderkin Awakener for 2. This is a creature elemental shaman with haste. Whenever he attacks, choose target elemental creature card in your graveyard with toughness less than his toughness, and return that card to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. Uncaged Fury for 3. This is an instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains double strike until end of turn. This is another great finisher, especially for my Mism tanks. Unchained Berserker for 2. This is 1/1. And Protection from White. Unchained Berserker gets +2/+0 as long as it's attacking. So there we have it. Those are all our red cards. I don't know how many of these I would fit into my current deck. I think the meta will change a little bit for red here moving forward. Leyline of Combustion will actually go in my deck, so I shouldn't say that. I really, really like the Elemental feel and the discard feel. Glint Horn Buccaneer. I know this is going to be good somewhere. Dracoth's Maw of Flames. This is maybe one of the best cards we've seen so far. Wow. That destroys things. Dragon's Maze, a little expensive, but if you can get it out, you've already won the game. A lot of Chandras, which is really cool, and our Cavalier of Flame, which is a powerhouse as well. So, thanks for watching. We're going to check back in a little bit later and check out all of our green cards. If you enjoyed this video, you enjoy any of the other videos, it would be super duper helpful if you could subscribe, like, comment, all that goodness. And I'm taking off for dinner. We'll see you guys later. We are still sitting pretty at 921. And yeah, we're going to take a look at green, and then we're going to try to push this rank up a little bit. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.